This world-class boxer was framed and wrongfully thrown into a ruthless Russian prison, where his only shot at freedom was to face the undefeated champion of the prison's brutal underground fight circuit. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The movie begins. Former boxing champion George Iceman Chambers arrives in the Russian Federation, eager to capitalize on his fame through a series of exhibition boxing matches and endorsement deals. The world of high-profile fights and recognition seems to offer a path back to the spotlight. Chambers, who had recently left his tumultuous past behind, specifically his time in prison, believes he's turning a new leaf. But fate has different plans for him. As Chambers arrives at the airport, he's arrested by Russian authorities on charges of cocaine possession, an accusation that shocks him. With no evidence and no way to defend himself, Chambers is swiftly tried and convicted. His agent, Phil Gold, whom he thought he could rely on, turns out to be involved in a deep conspiracy with Russian mobsters, ensuring that Chambers remains behind bars. With no choice but to accept his fate, Chambers is transferred to Chornya Poliana, a grim and notorious Russian prison. Inside the prison, he learns quickly about the brutal underground world of illegal mixed martial arts fights. The prison, far from being a place of reform, is a money-making operation where high-stakes fights take place, with the guards and criminal bosses betting on the fighters. The champion of the prison is Yuri Boyka, a feared and undefeated fighter known for his lethal skills. Boyka, once a soldier and martial artist, is revered by the other prisoners as a god. His fighting style is a vicious blend of powerful kicks, grapples, and submission techniques, making him the undisputed ruler of the prison's fighting ring. Chambers is placed in a cell with a man named Stevie Parker, a British junkie who warns him of the harsh realities inside the prison walls. Stevie explains the dangerous politics of the prison, where even the slightest misstep can cost a man his life. Soon enough, Chambers is approached by two influential figures, Gaga, a mob boss, and Warden Markov, who run the underground fight scene. They make him a proposition: fight Boyka, and Chambers may receive an expedited appeal for an early release. At first, Chambers refuses, unwilling to fight in such a corrupt system. He'd seen enough violence in his life to last a lifetime. However, when he refuses, he is sentenced to grueling labor in the prison's foul sewage system as a form of punishment. The conditions are brutal, and the work is exhausting. Chambers is pushed to the breaking point, but he remains resolute. He never planned on getting involved in the prison's fighting ring. It soon becomes clear that Chambers' agent, Phil Gold, is not the man he thought he was. Gold had accepted a bribe from Gaga, setting up the entire scheme to have Chambers sent to prison. Betrayed by his agent and with no way out, Chambers reluctantly agrees to fight Boyka. During this time, Chambers meets Krot, a former soldier and a man with a tragic story. Krot is paralyzed from the waist down after a failed escape attempt, during which he took the fall for his younger brother, who committed a robbery. Though Krot is confined to a wheelchair, his mind is sharp, and he becomes an unlikely mentor to Chambers. Krot trains Chambers, teaching him the basics of mixed martial arts, focusing on grappling and submission techniques that will complement his boxing skills. Krot's goal is not only to help Chambers survive, but also to help him defeat Boyka in the ring. Boyka, meanwhile, prepares for the fight in his own way. He is obsessed with proving that he is the greatest fighter in the world. He is confident in his skills and believes that Chambers is just another opponent in his path. Boyka's arrogance and overconfidence are apparent to everyone in the prison, but he remains the undisputed king of the ring. The day of the fight arrives, and the prison is buzzing with excitement. The inmates gather in the yard, bets are placed, and the atmosphere is electric with anticipation. Chambers, focused and prepared, steps into the ring, his eyes fixed on Boyka. The first round is intense, with Boyka using his wide array of strikes and grappling to keep Chambers on the defensive. However, Chambers uses his boxing background to land solid punches, using his footwork and reach to stay out of Boyka's grasp. The crowd is stunned when Chambers knocks Boyka down for the first time in his career, proving that he is a formidable opponent. At the end of the first round, Stevie, under pressure from Boyka's men, spikes Chambers' water bottle with a sedative. Unaware of the betrayal, Chambers drinks from the bottle, and as the second round begins, he begins to feel its effects. His movements slow, his vision blurs, and his reactions become sluggish. Boyka senses the weakness and capitalizes on it, landing a devastating flying kick that knocks Chambers out cold. The fight is over, and Boyka is declared the victor. Chambers, defeated and disoriented, is left to grapple with the realization that he's been drugged. Stevie, racked with guilt over his betrayal, hangs himself in the prison showers. Chambers is heartbroken by the loss of his only friend in the prison, but he is determined to seek justice. Chambers confronts Boyka in the prison yard, accusing him of rigging the fight. Boyka denies any involvement, and the two exchange heated words. When Chambers learns that he won't be released, he becomes enraged and assaults Warden Markov. As punishment, he is chained to a post in the freezing courtyard overnight. The temperature drops to dangerous levels, and many of the other inmates, seeing the injustice, throw their coats over Chambers to protect him from the cold. In a show of solidarity, these inmates are also punished by being forced to stand in the freezing weather. Despite the suffering, Chambers is moved by their gesture of solidarity. Boyka, having learned the truth about the drugging, seeks out the two henchmen responsible for spiking Chambers' water. In a brutal act of revenge, Boyka kills both men and demands a rematch with Chambers. Boyka's motivation is no longer just about winning. He needs to prove that he is the greatest fighter, and Chambers' victory over him cannot go unpunished. Chambers, now fully aware of the stakes, agrees to one last fight to secure his release. He demands that the prison provide warmer coats for the inmates in the courtyard as part of the deal. Gaga, eager to end the conflict and regain control over the situation, reluctantly agrees. Chambers resumes his training, this time focusing on his grappling and submission techniques under Krot's guidance. Krot pushes him harder than ever, helping him prepare for a fight that will test not only his strength, but his ability to adapt to Boyka's deadly fighting style. Krot's teachings are filled with personal stories of loss, regret, and resilience, giving Chambers a deeper understanding of the fight he is about to face. The rematch is even more brutal than the first. Chambers, now more skilled in mixed martial arts, fights with a sense of purpose and a quiet determination. Boyka's strikes are brutal, but Chambers is prepared. The two fighters exchange punishing blows, grapples, and submission attempts, each trying to gain the upper hand. Boyka's arrogance begins to fade as he realizes that Chambers is not only surviving but pushing him to his limits. In the final moments of the fight, Chambers realizes that Boyka is unwilling to submit, and he decides to change tactics. Using the training he received from Krot, Chambers catches Boyka in a joint lock and begins to twist his arm. Boyka fights back fiercely, but Chambers' grip is unrelenting. With a sickening crack, Boyka's leg is broken and the fight is stopped. Chambers is declared the victor, and the prison erupts in applause. Boyka, though defeated, silently acknowledges Chambers' superiority. Chambers is released from prison soon after the fight, having earned his freedom and the respect of the entire prison population. With the money from his fight, he buys Krot's freedom, and the two of them share a quiet, emotional moment as Krot is finally able to leave the prison behind. In the final scene, Chambers takes Krot to a train station, where Krot is reunited with his estranged niece. The two embrace, and Krot thanks Chambers for giving him the remainder of the fight winnings to start his life anew. Chambers, in turn, expresses his gratitude to Krot for his training and friendship. As the train departs, the two men watch the reunion in silence.
If you enjoyed this video, please do well to like, subscribe, and comment on what movies you want us to review for you. Also, turn on the notification bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. Thanks, and see you in the next video.